So, Jono, we just heard there from a journalist, and she was saying, you know, Benjamin Netanyahu doesn't have the support of the Israelis. But let's talk about Hamas. They have praised the attackers but not claimed any responsibility.
Yep.
So we have heard from Hamas. And the Israeli Defense Minister, Israel Katz, issued what he called a final warning to Hamas. And how has everything responded? How has Hamas gone?
So
what more do we know?
I think initially a lot of people speculated this was a Hamas attack. We know that it's not. It is a resistance. And I really think, we've discussed this before, I think the fuel in the tank of Hamas well and truly is out. They don't have the capability, militarily speaking, to come back at Israel anymore. So what we're seeing now is a small faction of people within Gaza, within the West Bank, who have said, right, we're going to take matters into our own hands, going to Israel and cause drama in places like Jerusalem. The tone that Hamas used for this said, yes, we're in direct ownership of this. However, it was that classic tactic. They're avoiding escalation, but they're also signaling their support for an attack like this, which you may indicate would have a knock-on effect, that you would see a snowball that will be more of this in sort of their attack as well. Hamas are not backing down, even though, as I said, there's very little left. They've got nothing they can come back to Israel with anymore. And the threat of annihilation seems to be doing very little to deter Hamas whatsoever. Now, Netanyahu, meanwhile, we've heard this from Israelis who are on the ground in Tel Aviv. We are seeing daily protests that are taking place very close to his house and on the streets of Tel Aviv, saying that they don't want the war in Gaza to continue. Now, that's not everyone in Israel. Of course, it couldn't be, because if it was, we wouldn't be in the situation that we're in. Hamas are trying to, I think, garner support at home, but also avoiding that accountability abroad, which is exactly what an attack like this does. It says, right, we've in some way had an action here, but we've not actually got any accountability for it. So in somewhat that protects Hamas yet again. And I don't think the threat, regardless of how strong it is going to make any difference. But much to what Dr. Ellie said, what happens after that is anyone's game. We really have no roadmap in place for what happens post Hamas's annihilation, as Netanyahu has put it.